Of the story of The Secret from Bob Doyle of The Secret. Good morning, K8280 and Melanie Dulg. I got your email this morning. I will be responding to you. Joe Simon, what? Are you freaking kidding me with this? Joe Simon, Epic Wishes join. Hello, Joe. I can't believe I didn't say hello, Joe, right away. All right, you know what I got to do is get my readers on real quick. CSS Christiana has joined. Joe Simon, invited followers. You are very nice, Joe, most of the time. Jason. Mickey, Illinois, luxury tax. Oh, I didn't get you in time. Ron C. Wow, look at all this stuff. Brooklyn Betty has joined. We are just filling the room. We're filling the room. It's been forever. Worst username ever. That's right. It has been a while. Well, I'm glad you guys joined in. I wonder what's so enticing about this particular title, this subject line. Hi, Brooklyn Betty, and Indy Colleen, and Claire does copy. Hi, Claire. So good to see you. All righty. Wow. Well, how was everybody's weekend? Was it good? It didn't really feel, part of it felt like a weekend, part of it didn't. Yesterday, Lynn and I invited one person. I always wonder about that. Lynn and I went on a hike with a group of folks yesterday, and it was much more than I signed up for. I don't know if it's in the California area. Hey, look, these glasses help me see, Joe. I don't sit there and dish your glasses, do I? These are very convenient. Lily, you changed your name to Lily Witch? All right. So yeah, we went on a hike and we took our dog Cody, and there were other dogs and there were lots of people, and it was just like, I think it was about, I don't know, an hour and a half upward. And it was in Griffith Park. And we went to this we got this amazing view of the Hollywood sign and all this other stuff, but oi. Brooklyn, don't ignore Joe, unless he deserves it, which he might. You know, sometimes Joe can, well, we all know. We just love Joe so much. If you guys didn't see our birthday show, well, I'm sorry. It's out there. It's out there on replay. Losing connection, well, I'm sorry. All right, well, actually, Joe, what I'm talking about today is because I get asked a lot about The Secret itself, about the process of being in The Secret, and what was that like, and how did that work behind the scenes and stuff like that. So that's what I thought I'd talk about. And I'm sure some law of attraction stuff will go in there because I'm not picking on Joe. Is it me? Hello, Joe? Hello, Lynn? All right, look. So yeah, is there any interest in that? The story, like how I got in there and what it was like working there and how that all went. Anybody care about that at all? Or is that just me going, whatever? Hearts, yes, go on. Okay, Joe, I will. So, one of the big questions I get is, how did you end up in The Secret, or how did The Secret happen? And so I have two levels of answer for that. I have the straight up, here's what happened, and thank you, Claire. Okay, great. Well, and then what I feel like happened on an energetic point of view. Sat in hospital having an ECG. Thought I'd say hi. Well, Ruby. Well, thank you for being here. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so let me back up. I've been teaching the law of attraction for about 3 years with my Wealth Beyond Reason program, and doing fairly well. It was my first really effective entrepreneurial outing, and had been teaching that and had a modest little following and all of that. And then, so one day I'm in Austin, Texas. I think it was my first time going to Austin. I'd always wanted to go to Austin. And I was there actually filming a video version of my Wealth Beyond Reason program, and which is no longer available. And that's a story too. But anyway, we will tell that story today. So I get this call. I'm in this hotel room, and this Australian woman is talking to me from the other end of the phone, and she introduces herself as Rhonda Byrne and a television and film producer, and she, Len, you should be watching your webinar. But thank you for being here, my love. So, yeah, I know, I am. Look, I'm geeked out, because here's the thing. I got bedhead this morning, and I got these little wings that are sticking out. And so I just couldn't do a scope like that. So I'm wearing a hat, and I can't read your comments if I don't have these things on. So I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. Face it. I've learned to deal with it, and I think you guys can too. Anyway, so Rhonda says, "Hey, I've got this idea for a project or something like that. We're putting a film together, and and we'd like you to be a part of it. Now, by this time, I'd gotten approached by a handful of people about their projects. And wings, yeah. I could never do wings when I was a kid. My hair is all wiry and curly and stuff like that. I was always jealous of the guys who could do wings. Can you imagine? Jealous. All I wanted was straight hair so that I could do the wings thing like everybody else. But no, I just had this big poofy fro-like thing that... Anyway, I digress. Oh, I do. Whenever I read a comment, I digress. And that's just how it's going to be. Because you know what? Here's the thing. Joe does such an amazing job of interacting with his viewers. Like, it's all about engagement. And I learn a lot from watching Joe. I really do. But I want you to be... I'm from Kansas. I tuned in expecting a different Bob Doyle. Well, I'm sorry. This is the one you got. So anyway, yeah, this story is going to take forever at this rate, isn't it? All right, so by this time, I'd already been approached by several people with their project ideas or their film ideas or their TV show ideas, and nothing ever happened, right? So at this time, I was kind of jaded and thinking, all right, well, here's another person with an idea that may or may not ever happen. And she said, let me show you, I want to point you to a video trailer of what we're, how we're pitching this. And I said, okay. So I'm expecting, I don't know, a sort of Windows Movie Maker slideshow-y thing or whatever. And what I got was this Hollywood level, just full-blown movie trailer for this project. And I was like, oh, I see, she's for real. So I was like, yeah, I can work with you on this project. And at that time, there were only going to be 8 of us. It was me, Joe Vitale, and some others. And and part of the story about my involvement in there was that as she was researching, I guess, who she wanted to be in there, she came across the Wealth Beyond Reason program, and there's a book in that program by a guy named David Cameron, which was the book I've talked about. It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money, and it's the one that turned on all the lights for me and really got me to where I could have impact, or utilize the law of attraction effectively, and that's why it's in the program. I made a deal with him immediately on that. And but he actually became the creative director of The Secret. If you watch The Secret, you'll see his name is in the credits as creative director. And so I actually hooked him up with Rhonda Byrne through my program. So that's another level of involvement that I had, was just making that connection, who became the creative director. Very cool. So anyway, there were going to be 8 of us in there. And I'm thinking, okay, and I'm just, at that point, it's like, stand by for details. And then Rhonda, shortly after that, she attended a conference called the Transformational Leadership Conference or something. And this is a group of, very well-known transformational leaders, Jack Canfield, all those guys, Marcy Shimoff, all those ones that you've heard. Now, I wasn't a part of that organization because I was really just kind of doing my thing in Duluth, Georgia, teaching the law of attraction with my program. I was not a part of that big community. I didn't know any of these people really. I'd talked with Joe Vitale because he had contributed to my first Wealth Beyond Reason program too, but I was not a player. I was not known, the whole thing was just like crazy to me. Anyway, the point is, she's at this thing and now she's surrounded by dozens and dozens of these transformational leaders. And so she had this opportunity to, bring a lot more people into this project. So I think she interviewed something like 72 people or something like that, and then pared it down to the 24, 27, whatever's in there. But when I heard about this, when I heard that she had found all these people and were interviewing all these people, all my stuff came up about not being good enough and who am I to be a part of this project. I'm no Bob Proctor, I'm no Jack Canfield and all that. I mean, it was really interesting. I had that actually occurred for me. And I remember having a conversation with her at one point saying, I was acting all humble and whatever. Like, hey, look, I understand you've gotten connected with all these major players, and if you don't feel like you can use me, I'd understand. That's total BS. I was so disappointed at the whole prospect of being asked or being told that I wasn't going to be a part of it, because at that point I totally knew that this was a real deal. Now, no one knew what it was going to happen. No one knew except for Rhonda, because that was part of her vision, was that it was going to make this huge worldwide impact. And things were very different at first. It was going to be distributed first on television worldwide, and then DVD and so on. And a lot of things changed because of some things that happened at the production company that she was a part of, or that was going to do this whole thing. And a new person came in and said, no, we're not doing that. So anyway, I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, she says, so I'm telling her all this. Well, so, if you don't need me, I understand. And she's like, Bob, you're a part of this. Just, basically she was like, get over yourself. I was like, okay. So, so the next part I want to talk about is like the interview process. Is just a little behind the scenes stuff. So what they did was they interviewed all of us in various cities. Like in my case, it was a 1 day trip to Chicago. They flew me up, flew me back, all the same day, and get in this hotel room, and it's freaking hot because they've turned off all the air because they're filming in there. They've got a green screen set up. Yeah, I'm glad she didn't listen to me too. Are you kidding me? Green screen set up, the lights are on, and they had this really cool setup with the camera. So the director, like instead of me looking into a teleprompter or anything like that, or looking off to the side answering interview questions like this, they had it set up so that where a teleprompter would be, I'm actually seeing his face. He's actually sitting off to the side, and he's asking me questions, and I'm looking at him just like I'm looking at myself in Periscope right now. So it's really like having a conversation with a person. So it wasn't all interview style-y. And I think that conversation went on for 2.5 hours or so. And the thing that was challenging to me, and it continues to be challenging because I've done other film projects too that were similar in nature where I'm being interviewed. So they ask a question, and you have to reframe. When you do your answer, you have to kind of reframe it so that the question is part of the answer, because you're not hearing the director ask the questions. You're just hearing us say something in response to a question. So he might say, well, what do you think some of the biggest challenges are with people implementing the law of attraction? And then I would say something like, I find that some of the biggest challenges people have in implementing the law of attraction are like that, or whatever it was that I said back then. I missed the question about Drew, who was the director at that point. So anyway, so 2.5 hours in there, and there's so much stuff that, didn't make it into the film. Like, yes, it was Drew. And, stuff that I thought was really, really critical in terms of having a conversation about the law of attraction. Like if you watch the film, I'm sure they talk about limiting beliefs to some extent or whatever, but, by that time, okay, I'm getting all kittywampus here. By that time, I'd really gotten, EFT and other release techniques were really a big part of my program and helping people have, results where they were, a lot quicker. So obviously I wanted to talk about EFT and releasing and what resistance is and how that comes into play when you're trying to work with the law of attraction, but none of that made it in there because it was a 90-minute film. They had all these different interviews, right? They couldn't put everything in there. So it was interesting to see what they kept. And it's, really when I watched The Secret, Danny Beck, you're smiling right now. I can tell you always smile. Thanks for bringing that ray of sunshine into this room. Not that it's not filled with sunshine already. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? So I got derailed again. Well, it's great to be seen. Where was I? Somebody help me. Where was I? I was talking about being in the room. Oh yeah, all the content that was, because it was a 90-minute film, it was all about an introduction to the law of attraction. So really the bulk of my work after The Secret was sort of filling in the blanks that The Secret left. And they back in the day, when you went to The Secret website, all the teachers were prominently featured, and they had products and stuff like that for sale, and business went nuts back then. At some point, right around the time The Secret went on Oprah, they took all of us off the front page. And we, everybody thought that the Oprah Secret thing was just going to explode, or I did. Thought that it was going to take my business, which had already exploded because it had been out for quite a while already and made its impact in terms of a business and just my reach and stuff. It had already gone like crazy. But I thought, man, when the Oprah thing happens, it's going to be nuts. And it didn't go nuts. It didn't change at all. And I was like, what's going on? And then I went to the website and realized that, you had to dig. You had to know how to find us to learn more about how to learn from us. But anyway, point is that after that, a lot of my work became about dispelling some of the myths that came up after The Secret came out. Like, that all you have to do is close your eyes and imagine something and it will appear. Talk all about the resistance stuff and answer some of the tougher questions like, if the law of attraction is real, then why does this happen? Why does a kid get born with this illness? And how come there's all this tragedy? And how come all that, right? So that became, how my work evolved. And I think I became somewhat known for that. And I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed that process of demystifying or demythologizing. That's not a word, but taking out some of the magical thinking of The Secret, of the law of attraction, because that was what had to happen for me for it to, when I first started with the law of attraction, I had to understand that it wasn't woo-woo or magic thinking, but that there was actually science around it. And so, after The Secret, it just was different, a different level of having to teach it that way. It's interesting because wow, I said something that I thought was interesting, and then I forgot it immediately. Something about, where my teaching went with it. But oh, I think it was. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so let's see. What else can I tell you about behind the scenes stuff? I will tell you this. I think it's okay for me. I should. Maybe I should. I don't know. Point is, a while back, several years ago, it's been, I would say, 2010, 2011. They sent us DVDs of not all, but a lot of the footage that wasn't used in the film. So, oh, I know what I was going to say, because when I watch the film now and I look at what they used of mine, I'm going, oh, I would never say it like that now, I would never, or it was like it felt out of context. And like, I think I actually say in there something like, I don't know, some like attracts like. I think I actually say that, but that is so not how I teach it. Like, absolutely not how I teach it. And yet there I am saying it, those words coming out of my mouth. So I'm not sure I can't remember the context of the thing, but anyway, it's just interesting to see how I say certain things that I would totally not say them like that now, and don't really think I said them like that then. But it was still effective. It's not like everything was wrong. It's just that I just don't do it that way anymore. Go a little bit deeper and, all of that. So anyway, so I get this DVD and it's got all this stuff on. I'm going, every single bit of this is better than anything they put in the movie. For me, in terms of, I think, the poignancy, the depth, the, how it's explained, and the topics that really matter to people. It gave me an opportunity to basically repackage all of that and make it available in a way that, it really does, I think, answer some of the most common questions and common objections that came up. So I had actually addressed them during the interview, but they just didn't make the movie. As I'm talking about this, I'm realizing I don't think I have. I think I may have that thing at Amazon, but that DVD that I put together, but I'm not even sure. But it was just sort of a side thing. But I remember an interesting conversation I had with John Assaraf after the interviews had been. Now, John Assaraf was also in the film, and if you remember, he was the one who he talked a lot about the vision boards, and he talked about the house that he had moved into and was clearing out some old vision boards and realized that very house he moved into had been the one on a vision board from several years before. So that's just who John is. But he and I were having a conversation between the time that the interviews and the film had been put together and before it was released, and it was an internet-only release at first. And I remember us talking, and he said something along the lines of, we can't really bank on this thing doing anything in particular, because we don't know. Because I think a lot of us were excited about Rhonda's vision and thinking, okay, really great things are about to happen when this thing comes out. But John was like, we really gotta, we don't really know. And then, of course, what happened was so much beyond any of our expectations in terms of the phenomenon. But, when it first came out, it was internet only. And so the only people who knew about it were people who were on the emailing list of the people who were in the film, really. And I remember there was a whole sequence of emails that we were allowed to send for a while before it came out, but we couldn't say anything, it was all a secret about this huge thing that was coming out, and we can't wait, but we can't tell you, and all that stuff. I don't really remember exactly. I wonder if I still have some of those emails tucked away somewhere. That would be really interesting to go back and find. I must have them. I must have a record of them. I got to go back and find this. What was it that we said to hype the secret before it happened? But anyway, and then they started showing it online because a lot of people don't know that the movie came first, not the book. But if you look at it, you'll realize that the quotes from all of us in the book came directly from the movie. So, but anyway, yeah. So it was internet only, and you could watch it online for like $5, and it was like for one viewing, and that was it. And but that's how it got spread. And so once it was released, all the people on our respective mailing lists saw it, and because they were on our mailing list, that means they were already pretty much into the conversation. They were fans of the whole topic of creating your life by design and the law of attraction and all of that, for the most part. So it's no wonder that the response was amazing. Just almost 100% positive, and there was this. Oh my God, you got to see this thing. There's nothing like it, which is true. There was nothing like it, and yeah, the production value, everything about it was good. But if you're in the conversation, that's one thing. But what happened then they released it out on DVD, and then now people could have it in their hands and share it with their friends, and that's where things got interesting, folks. because not everybody was a fan. You know, the people who were not already in a personal development conversation, transformation, law of attraction, all that stuff, who had no woo-woo, no new age, none of this was their conversation. You know, a lot of those people saw this and even got irritated, got mad, got offended. You know, we had people, you know, with religious responses thinking that we were undermining the whole concept of God or something. We had people saying, oh, it's all about money, you know, and just about attracting stuff you know. And if you watch the film, you realize we talk about health, we talk about world peace, we talk about all sorts of relationships. It's not just about getting stuff. But it's, you paid way too much for the DVD. How much did you pay? I've got a whole box of them here. Right here. A whole box of secret DVDs. And I kept thinking I want to give them away. No, I did not need to pay to be in the film. I hate that whole model. When you know, I've been approached. I know that a lot of people do projects like that and say, we got an opportunity for you. Just pay $15,000 and we'll put you in this movie. And not in a million years would I do that. Never seen the movie. You should watch it. It's on Netflix. Yeah, signed DVDs for the Periscope followers. That's what I said I wanted to do. But then I'm honestly going, am I really going to mail out all these DVDs? I mean, you know, like I said in my last scope, we're looking for a personal assistant in the Marina Del Rey area. Somebody who will come and do those types of things for us. Because I would do that. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to go to the post office every day to mail out a DVD. I'm not going to do it. Post office is my least favorite place on the planet. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you see that you get it or watch it on Netflix and decide whether or not you want to purchase it or not, or come to my scope when I decide to start giving them away, signed, as gifts for something. I don't know what the contest is. But yeah, I mean, they're not doing me any good sitting in a box here. I'd love to get them out there for those of you who don't have DVDs, but I got to come up with a better system of, you know, of propagating them. I'll think about that. Because I've got a bunch of them. Maybe I can do it like, you know, if you purchase a certain product of mine, not like the, you know, like, or with or something, I don't know, something. And then I'll throw that in and mail it to you or something. So it's not just, I don't know. Yeah. Part of my decluttering is right. I do want to get these out of here. And I've got another whole box or two in Atlanta that I could bring back. So I'm guessing I've got, I don't know, a couple of hundred maybe. Is that possible of these things? I hope I find the perfect person too. Lynn and I will not settle for less than perfect for our personal assistant, because we, you know, we're a tricky couple of people. We have really bizarro needs, so yeah, it'll take a special person, but we definitely want somebody who's in this conversation of transformation and stuff, who can get some value out of even just working with us. You know. All right, so I totally digressed there. So where the hell was I here on the secret thing? I don't know. What else do you want to know? Hamburger in a tree every day. Okay, I don't know what that means. Oh, yes. I need the personal assistant will have to bring me a hamburger in a tree every day. Is that unusual? Hello, hamburger? Anybody have any particular question about the secret? I don't know if I've left something I know I'm going to end the scope and go, oh, I totally forgot to tell them about this thing. All right, you know, here's one thing. Well, no, I can't. Well, I will say this for those of you who don't know, because this part isn't a secret, but I can't really dig into it. Some people may or may not. How did my life change after The Secret? Okay, that's great. There are two versions of The Secret movie out. The first one that came out has Esther Hicks in it, of Abraham fame. If you don't know who that is, then it's an irrelevant conversation. You can look it up. If you're in the law of attraction conversation at all, though, I'm pretty sure you know who Abraham and Esther Hicks are. So the first version had her in it. And I guess all I can really say is that something happened. I don't remember how long into it was, but they removed themselves from the film. And then they had to go in and refilm some more with Lisa Nichols and Marcy and, you know, other women speakers to kind of fill in the gaps there. And I think actually, and I think a lot of people do agree, that the first version was better, had a different energy. And I'm not saying it's better because of Esther. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that it had a different feel to it, in my opinion. And I truly have seen The Secret maybe 5 times. Like I watched it once when I first got it, and then I watched it again with my family, and then the only other times I saw it were when I was, speaking at an event where they'd play it ahead of time. And I remember I'm getting through it going, how can people watch this 100 times, But I think that's just me and my stuff. But, and every time I watch it, I go, oh, I forgot they were in there. I forgot about that. I forgot he was in there. It's so funny. But, yeah, but to me, the vibe is different. And, I mean, it's still The Secret. It just feels different. I don't know if anybody out there have the Esther Hicks version, or did you come on too late to the Secret bandwagon? I think at some point somebody had that up there on YouTube. It got yanked, as it should have. You saw one with Hicks, but the copy I bought doesn't have her in it. Yeah. So if you saw the first round, if you saw it when it first came out or online, or you bought the DVD right off the bat, you got the first one. But then after that, they pulled all those. I think I have 2, maybe, of the original in my possession somewhere. And I think your dad has both. Yeah, it's kind of cool to have both. Hey, Xavier. It's on YouTube. Well, okay. There you go. It's not supposed to be. If anybody finds out, they're going to... So we'll just keep it a secret. Anyway. So yeah, let's see if there's anything. Oh, how did my life change after The Secret? Well, that's a great question, because there is great stuff that happened, obviously, and then there were some really, really super challenging things that happened. Obviously, as I mentioned before, my personal exposure, was, it exploded. And people who I never would have thought would have ever heard of me and never would have knew who I was and all that. Now, that's not to say that I would walk down the street and get talked to. That never happened. That happened one time in my entire ever since The Secret has anyone walked up to me and said, I know who you are. And they'd already known me from before. So it really wasn't, I mean, we weren't friends at that time, but what I'm saying is I never get recognized. And, it's just never happened. And now, of course, I don't even look like that anymore. I've got this going on, and my hair's way different. And every now and then I'll walk around with these on. Didn't have that happening. But so obviously that was great from a business point of view, as I mentioned before, when they were selling our products on their website. Jeez, this is getting crazy here. It was just something I'd never seen that before. But, and I'm just being totally honest with you, what happened at that point, and I've thought about this in retrospect, that as much as I had expanded my financial comfort zone, energetically and otherwise, up to the point of The Secret where I was able to get out of debt, which, I mean, I had tremendous debt. This is all before The Secret. But I had tremendous debt, and then I started implementing law of attraction and teaching it and things, and was able to get out of debt. I mean, and that was a really great space. I mean, I was playing video games more than I was working. It was just really relaxed. I'm not saying my life was perfect, because it was not, but there was a lot that was like a lot better. But then after The Secret happened, and there was all this new business and everything, and I realized, again, in retrospect, like many years later, because of all the things that happened as a result, that I just really wasn't ready. Bob Doyle wasn't ready for that level of boom, here's everything's going to explode. And my behaviors, who I was being at that time, was more indicative of the old Bob Doyle, who suddenly had a lot of money. So let's go buy this big freaking house, and let's get, so a lot of poor choices. I'm just being honest here, It was like I was just like this kid who had all this money. And what happened, and there were some other things that happened, and there was a monumental thing that happened that was also very, very important. Lots of things after The Secret started to kind of break down in my personal life, because with all the attention and everything else, I became more and more aware of my incongruence in certain areas, mostly relationship, where I was settling and where, whatever. And the more that was in my face, the more energetically I started to feel out of alignment, and it started to show up in all sorts of ways. Business went weird. I had all sorts of technical issues that prevented me from being able to mail to as many people as I could. So it just began to be very, very, very much of a struggle. And what the key pivotal thing that happened, it was like, because I got stuck. I just felt my life was stuck, and things were even starting to go backwards financially and stuff. And I was like, what's going on? And again, in retrospect, there was the two things. Like, one, I wasn't really energetically ready for it, and I didn't have the skill set to realize that that wasn't, like, I wasn't noticing that that was going on, so I wasn't dealing with it. I wasn't getting help with it. I wasn't working through it energetically. I was just coasting along. But what I got stuck on was, oh my gosh, I've got these fires to put out now, and I completely lost my sense of vision. I had, and there's other reasons too, that my ability to create a new vision for myself was impaired, to say the least. And so that's why now, of course, if you listen to me talk, it's all about the vision. You've got to have a vision. You've got to have a why must I do this inspired vision to pull you forward. Because if you don't, then you just get stuck on what's happening now, or worried about what happened then, and energetically you just start running in a pattern. And most of the time you're going to eventually start to slide back. What was the cause of your downtrend? That your attention was on the fires. Yes. Yeah, I was really kind of focused on what was not working, which is Law of Attraction 101, guys. Don't do that. And I was doing it every day. So, but like I said, there were other reasons that I won't get into now that I was challenged with creating a vision for myself and seeing a future that was filled with happiness and love and abundance and the whole thing. And energetically, that just kind of caught up to me. I don't think it was a young thing, maybe a maturity thing. I will definitely say that. I'm not the most mature guy on the planet. Lynn Rose can attest to that. Anybody who knows me can attest to that. And that's fine with me too, by the way. I don't want to grow up. I'm only 1/3 of the way through this ride, right? So anyway, yeah, so some of that stuff, that downward trend, and it became significant, and I went through a lot of trials and things like that. And some of you, know that went through a divorce a few years ago, and that will rock your energetic planet in very hideous ways. So, but yeah, so it was really about getting back on track, was about getting a vision again. Not solving technical problems, not fixing my email, not coming up with still another product or trying to generate revenue. That was not the answer. That was what I was trying to do. I was trying to intellectualize my way back into a groove. And I learned at the beginning that that's not how to do it. My whole story was about how I tried to figure everything out and nothing worked, and I let it go and started following my intuition and created a vision. My initial vision being creating a business where I could teach these principles and blah, blah, blah. And I did that, and it worked. I lived into that vision, and the secret happened. It couldn't have worked better. But then what I didn't do was create a new vision. So I just was stuck right there. And so now, things are, I'm finding now when I really get clear about a vision, things move along beautifully. Things happen. I'm happier. There's less stress. Business improves. Everything, just everything. So now, of course, I'm living in beautiful Marina del Rey. I have this beautiful woman who is the perfect match for me, and we are able to create amazing visions and things. It's not that we don't still have our challenges and things like that. We're navigating the human experience just like everybody else, but it's great that we have each other to keep each other in check, to reflect back with each other when we might be moving off the path or whatever, because for whatever reason back when I was kind of spiraling on my own, I was mostly just kind of complaining to people and not really, oh, you're awesome. I was looking for guidance, but nothing was hitting. And I knew that it was really because I just can't create a vision right now. And, let the universe support you. It's the best way, but wobbles still come to us and challenge us. And really, when the wobbles come, they're just energetic events. They're just things that we interpret and say, oh, this is a problem, or this is not a problem, or whatever. It's still that humanity and the intellect and all of that kind of gets in the way and takes a situation and can either, you can either move through it or release it, or it's irrelevant, or you focus on it and it expands, and now you've got an issue, right? And that's kind of what it was there for quite a while. Jumping back and forth between trying to be Bob Doyle from The Secret and then dealing with Bob Doyle, the human, whose things were falling apart all around. Now, having said all of that, I do want to say this. When I would, during that time, even when it was bumpy, when I would teach, when I would get into the mode, if I was speaking on stage or doing a product or doing a call, all that other Bob Doyle problem stuff just completely fell away. I was always able to line back up to being sort of the channel of the information. And honestly, I think that's what I've always been. I don't name my channeling, But I really believe that we all have the ability, and I think we all do it all the time. We open ourselves up to information. We invite the information, it flows through us, and sometimes we don't even know where it comes from. How many can relate to that? You know, where you just sort of suddenly have all this insight and you hear yourself saying things, you just go, wow, that's, you know, and that was exactly how it started for me. I went from just kind of really learning a little bit about the law of attraction to having a light come on to setting an intention to being someone who could really expertly communicate this stuff. And then it just all started flowing in. And so I was just more or less a conduit. And that happens to me every time I do a scope, every time I get on a stage, every time I get on a call, every time I do an interview. I mean, Bob Doyle with the personality and all that is still there, but this channel opens up of we're having a conversation about this around the law of attraction, and I'm feel completely congruent and in alignment. What I'm saying is I've long given up this whole idea of just because I have a human experience or go through some struggles that I'm a fraud. You know, it's really easy for people in our situation to feel that way. It's a very common thing, I think. You know, we're out there helping people. We're contributing value. We're doing all sorts of stuff, but yet we know our own stuff and we go, oh, I'm a fraud, you know. But you know what? If you're out there and you're authentically communicating and you're making an impact on people, you're there doing what you need to do. You've got your own experience. You've got your own growing and learning to do, but it doesn't make you a fraud. It makes you a human. And so I have learned to accept that. And I'm also very open when you know, I've always been very transparent about what's going on in my life and, you know, the ups and downs and so on. And it's wonderful because it establishes, obviously, all I really want is genuine connection with people, which is why I love Periscope and Blab so much, as opposed to like using email and things like that. How could you help if you hadn't experienced yourself? How could you help if you hadn't? Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. It came from somewhere else. It didn't come from in here. So as this happened, like before I was even speaking, I was able to help myself through what came through me. So, I mean, I did help myself. I did have experience with it, but it was after the information came through me and all of that. And then I started implementing myself. And then I could speak authentically and in integrity about it. Before I had my, if I could go back in time, would I choose to do The Secret again? Yes, I would. No question. Well, anyway, I think you knew where I was going with all that. So anyway, it's been an amazing ride, and I am flabbergasted still that The Secret holds so much importance and significance for people. You know, I've been doing a fair amount of speaking in Russia over the past few years or so, and their enthusiasm for The Secret is off the charts. It's bigger than some of the stuff I saw over there is bigger than anything I saw over here, even when it was at its biggest. And it's just because it's still fairly new to them, I guess, over there. And so when I go over there and speak in Russia, it's insane. It's insane, the response. Very, very humbling, but also there's just such immense gratitude, and also just knowing that is happening over there. Did you find that as you put your attention back and vision away from the fires, that things changed? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Every time I would consistently move it away. And manifesting things just happens so much easier when I'm really clear. What accounted for your more recent shifts? Well, I think a wake-up call, you know, a lot of like, I have to give credit to Lynn. Lynn coming into my life has been a tremendous gift on many levels, and her ability to help me see the value in myself, and you know that I deserve a great vision, and all of this other stuff has been great. She does challenge me very often. Like sometimes she reflects back in a way that I'm not ready to hear, but in the long run, most of the time she's got a lot of you know, she's right, is what it is. So I have my preliminary resistance. And I think that, you know, her giving me constant wake-up calls has been helpful. I will also say that since I've got a whole renewed enthusiasm for the work that I do since starting Periscope, having this level of interaction, and just a different relationship with people who I'm connecting with. So that gives me, because truly the internet marketing piece of this, I have to do it. It's just how it, you know, I gotta use email. That's just how you do it. but I don't have nearly so much enjoyment around that. I mean, I would love if all of you would get my emails and things like that, but you know how it is. You get emails and after a while you just like, pass, delete, whatever. It's nothing personal necessarily, but it's just not my favorite way. Not my favorite way. But I'll still be doing it. All right, what else? What else? Any other questions? Because otherwise I can let you go. I just feel like I'm rambling on, just talking about myself. But there are lessons for us all in all of our stories. So I'm laughing at what Lynn just typed. Hi, Mario. Hey, Mario. Hey, Marion. Good to have you here. One of my Boundless Living coaches. You guys, and Thomas Houston's here. Yeah, Boundless Living Challenge. That would be a fun. That'd be a fun reunion scope, wouldn't it? Gather all the people up who are big into the Boundless Living Challenge and have a conversation, or even a blab. That'd be even better. Get everybody online. Oh God, we got to totally do that. That would be so freaking fun. I was discussing my involvement with the movie The Secret, kind of how it happened, how the movie worked, and things after The Secret and all of that. What's my next movie? I don't know. There were a chain of these movies afterward. Right after that was The Opus. I did something called Try It On Everything, or The Tapping Solution, and then Beyond Belief. And I haven't done anything since then, and it is one of those things that so many people did try to recreate the success of The Secret, and I truly, it just looks like that was just a phenomenon. They just did that absolutely just right. No, it's in the law of attraction. When things ran away with you after The Secret, how long was it before you felt on track again? About 20 minutes ago. I'm kidding. I actually honestly still feel like there's a course correction going on. Things are dramatically better than they were, but there's still things that I'm writing as a result of all of the denying myself the vision for so long, because that had a ripple effect in all the other areas of my life. Every member of my family, my friends, my business, everything, And so powerfully, and really getting clear on what do I really want to do? What do I really want to do with my career, with my hours of the day, and all of that? And what I'm really clear on is that, Lynn and I have both been spending many, many hours a day doing a lot of work, and the mentality of that has always been, well, I need to, I don't write movies, although that's on my list, right? Boy, do I get derailed easily. Totally just absolutely gone. Well, I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, you guys, and listening to this. How did Lynn come into my life? Well, that's so funny because we get asked that all the time. And it's just so funny to hear Lynn tell the story. But we knew each other through the industry. We were Facebook friends for a long time after The Secret, but we didn't really ever talk or know each other or anything like that. We met in person. I tell the short version. Lynn has a little bit longer version. We met in person at one of Cynthia Kersey's Unstoppable galas. You often see me drinking out of my Unstoppable coffee mug. And we became friends, and we started doing some work together, and, time went by, blah, blah, blah. I, left the marriage, and then I was out here doing work. Lynn and I were talking about putting together a retreat. Anyway, the relationship evolved because we started spending more time together, and we just realized, wow, this is divine. This is crazy divine. And that's the short version. But anyway, it's been a blessing. So sorry to cough in your face like that. All right, you guys. Wednesday is a blab, and it will be at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Was I ready for a relationship? It's so funny because I absolutely, when I was in the marriage and, moving through it, the last thing I wanted in my life was another relationship. I really felt like I needed to have time to find myself, redefine, create a vision, all of those other things. And but what happened with Lynn basically was so undeniable, so right there that it was like, you know what? I could make one decision and say, no, now's not the time. I got to do all this. But that just wasn't. It just was undeniable, and I just wasn't going to let it go. And Lynn and I will both tell you very freely that that did present our share of challenges from so many directions. The fact that we decided to get into this relationship fairly soon after, I had left the marriage, so yeah, it's not all been easy. But I can't believe this has shifted into the Bob and Lynn relationship scope. But what I am very clear on is that it was the right thing to do with all the learning experiences that we've had and continue to have, and yeah, I could just go on and on about it. Okay, you guys, yeah, because of the divine connection, it's true. Like we had such a knowing right off the bat that it's allowed us to weather some pretty amazing storms, and it's been 3.5 years. Yeah, okay. This is getting a little crazy now. So how about? Oh yeah, I was talking about the Blab on Wednesday. Blab Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. with one of my Boundless Living coaches, Trish Cool, and we're going to be talking about, I have to remember, reframing, mindset, things like that. And it's a very important topic because it's all about how we interpret things that happen in the moment that determine what happens next, basically. Because that's, in the moment, we make some choices about, okay, here's the situation. I am programmed to interpret it this way, and therefore I feel like this about it. My vibration shifts like this, and I'm going to attract accordingly. So if you're not attracting in a way that's serving you, this scope is about how to take those moments and shift your mindset, regain control of your mind, so that you can think about things a little bit differently, reframing a situation that normally would send you down a spiral, and instead, shape it the way you want. So we're going to be talking about that. Instead of 10 a.m. on Pacific time, we're going to be doing it 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, because she is on the other side of the world, and she'd be doing it at 2 a.m. if we did it that way, at the 10 a.m. thing. Been really enjoying the audios about bug-free mind. Juliet, am I right? That stuff is the bomb. They were in the middle of a launch, and I was going to be doing this whole series of periscopes around things that had impacted me from a bug-free mind, and they've postponed the launch right now, and so I have to wait. I'm going to wait. But yeah, Andy Shaw, bug-free mind. I think you can, well, anyway, get it. That's all I got to say. Okay. Thank you, Natasha. I'm so happy that you joined us. And I'm glad it was interesting for you. I wasn't really sure if this was going to maintain anybody's interest or not, but it did actually bring up some very interesting points. I will read Mario's profile if Mario posts again, and then I will look at it. But anyway, so this was fun. I got to go back down memory lane a little bit, talk about Lynn. This scope had it all. Got to talk about free giveaways that eventually one day I'll do. Yeah, well, I know, but look. This isn't for fashion. These are for function. I've showed you these before. These fit in this little case right on the back of my phone. So I've always got them. Always got them. I don't have to hang them here. I don't have to worry about sitting on them. Oh, I missed it because I took my glasses off. All right, Mario, one more time. Okay, here we go. Now I have to... Oh, morning reporter, fill in anchor. I see. Well, Mario, nice to have you here. I hope you've been nothing but impressed and you just want to do a whole series on this topic. Anyway, thank you all very, very much for your kind attention and your support ever since I've started Periscoping. Those of you who have been with me for a very long time, I really appreciate that. And I hope that those of you who are new will continue to follow and continue to share and join me as this whole relationship on Periscope and Blab evolves into who knows what. Will you do some scopes on how to get started with voiceover? Okay, I'm really glad you asked me that because it's been bugging me all morning this morning. I was thinking, I've got to do that. I've got to do it. I want to do it. I basically got the course written. I've got it written. It's just, you know what the challenge is? It comes down to marketing. I've got such a small group of people here. I mean, relatively small, talking about 30, 40, 50 people as opposed to a mailing list of thousands that I can even tell this to about. So, and then out of that small percentage, it would just be, a small percentage who would want to become a part of it. If I'm going to put on this full-blown course about making voiceover money on Fiverr or whatever, I want a good group. So I'm kind of like, well, how do I do this? I haven't really spent the time thinking about how am I going to logically do this? Am I going to buy advertising to do that? I don't know. But it's a totally different thing. But I would love, love, love to do it. With a big following, will happily share. Okay, awesome. Well, I really had this morning, I was really thinking about, I got to do this. And so maybe I'll spend some time today taking it to a next level, creating a web page, I don't know, something. And then I actually thought about doing another voiceover blab this morning where you can see the screen, all my screens, and do the process, but I probably won't do it. Just because I've got a big stack today and I really kind of just need to get into it because I've got other things to do as well. Anyway, Luxury Tax has joined right at the end. Well, Luxury Tax, you can definitely watch the replay, and I hope you do. We've had people stick around for quite some time. All right, I'm just so terrible at saying goodbye on this thing. I just really need a standard out. Like Joel Comm, see, he came up with the best. I stole it. Not true. He came up with the best out. Down Periscope. Come on, that's awesome. But I can't steal that. Yes, I still do voiceover work on Fiverr, and it does very well, and I still enjoy it. It's a very significant part of my revenue these days, guys. It started out as a hobby, fun thing to do on the side, and now it has turned into a full-time income, just under 6 figures. And I'm telling you that because I want all of you who are even slightly curious about voiceover or earning money doing something you love to do, just know that it is possible. Working over at Fiverr is not about making an extra $15 a month. You know, it's about creating a real income, and it's really just blown up. And I love it because I love doing voiceover. I always wanted to do voiceover. That was my when I was a kid. So now I'm getting to live that dream. And I was going to mention this before because it is one of the things that when I started to redefine my vision for myself, is like, well, what do I really want to do? Well, I really want to do voiceover, and I really want to do it. I really want to do it. And when I got really super clear on that, it just started coming in like crazy, right? So that clarity of vision, because it's something that I just naturally enjoy it. It's like breathing to me. And we all have gifts like that we probably devalue, right? For me, I just took it for granted, or I thought, well, Fiverr, I can't, whatever. Do I really want to waste my time doing that on Fiverr? Thank God I did. Because it's just so much fun. I get to do so many fun different projects. And the thing about voiceover, guys, is that if you have a voice, there's a lot more people who could do voiceover who want to do it, but they've talked themselves out of it for whatever reason. I'm telling you, this is an opportunity for you to really, really flourish. And that's why I want to do this course to show people exactly what I do over on Fiverr and how I do it and how I set up my profile and and also the process, how I actually, like what my workflow is and how I edit and the software that I use and just everything. And then also provide coaching for those of you who want to get better at voiceover. And that's all stuff I have been saying I'm going to do, and I just haven't done it yet. But like I said this morning, I got a really strong sense that it's time. Okay. I think actually, if you are even slightly interested in that, I set up I think it's bobdoylevoice.com, and there's a little, basically be notified when I am doing this. It's just, it's just basically giving me your email address only for me to tell you that I'm doing it. Nothing else. I won't market anything to you unless you're, on another one on my list. But for that, if you have any interest in that whole Fiverr voiceover revenue generation course that I basically have gotten completed, I just haven't really launched it yet, go over to Bob Doyle Voice and just give me your name and email so I can notify you that, hey, it's ready to go. Come on, sign up, that kind of thing. All right. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. I will hopefully see you on Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. And if not, we're back here with a LOA Scope on Friday at 10 a.m. Until then, I got nothing. I was really trying to come up with some sort of clever vision creation sort of thing, and it just, nothing. So here's bobdoylevoice.com. I'm pretty sure. I think that's it. I think it is. bobdoylevoice.com. You should come to a page, and there's just a form. I think that's it. Okay, you guys. Yeah, that's right. Until then, stay in your vision.